Every 2 years, Martin Chandler's private instrument collection is open to the public, offering a rare opportunity to see more than 200 unique instruments, dating from 1780 to the present.
I think I have the largest private collection of instruments of this type on the West Coast. I know there's a guy that corrected me on that because he had 5,000 flutes from an India tourist store. But I mean, instruments that really are valuable and historical. I haven't heard of anybody that has a collection that rivals mine, but it's been put together over a very long period of time. I originally played trumpet, and I taught myself to play saxophone while I was traveling around on the road back when I used to play professionally. And I was playing in San Jose, California, and I happened into a pawn shop, and there was an instrument I'd never seen before called an alto horn. And the alto horn's bell was all crushed over, and I think I bought it for $10. And I took it to a guy who fixed it for $40 or $50, and so for $60 I had a really incredibly cool looking instrument. So really pretty instrument. Saved from death by Mr. C. First instrument in the collection. They all work. Every single instrument plays, and much to the chagrin of some of my museum people that I've bumped into, they're kind of shocked that I actually play some of these instruments, especially some of the one-of-a-kind instruments. But I feel that if instruments are around, then they need to be played. And if I had an old 55 Thunderbird, I wouldn't park in the garage. I'd get it out and drive it every once in a while and see why everybody was raving about them. And I even let my students play some of my instruments so they get a chance to play something they're never going to be able to play again. I have a soprano rothophone. That's probably the rarest because, to my knowledge, that's the only surviving soprano rothophone anywhere in the world. They were never very popular, and they kind of waned, and people used them for repair projects, and they made lamp posts out of them for put little shades on them. And my research says I have the only one left. This is the last surviving soprano rothophone on the planet Earth that we know of, at least so far. This is a rotary valve piccolo trumpet. They used to be incredibly rare, and good ones, by the way, still are. Scherzer of Germany, once again, fine German engineering, came up with this instrument. They make and export 6 of these instruments a year. I would love it if I could be, a guest exhibitor at some municipal museum. I think we're almost to the point where our presentation is so good they wouldn't need to do very much work to get us in. And people have proven that even when they're kind of reluctantly walking through the door, being dragged by their daughter, on a Saturday, Dad, come see this. Everybody is always thrilled. I think it vastly exceeds everybody's expectation of what they expected when they came through the door. The Callison Company made 6 of these mini trumpets as presentation instruments for special customers. We don't know the name of this special customer, but this instrument has come down to us 60 years later in pristine, perfect condition. So this is a Callison mini trumpet. And if you'd like to go on the internet and research mini trumpets, what you're going to find is every trumpet player loves them and wants them. Okay? So I've only waited about, well, 30 at least years to get one. So here is the Callison mini trumpet. It is the Callison mini trumpet, and if you could hold it, you would not believe this little tiny little thing weighs a ton. So it is a legitimate instrument, and it took somebody a lot of time to make this guy, so there were 6 of these made, and one of them's right here. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very interesting instrument that I've been collecting in the last year, and to my knowledge, I have the only complete collection of all 7 sizes of this instrument. This is called a Chalmet. It was originally invented by an instrument maker named Martin from Germany right before World War I. And he invented this instrument to actually be a real musical instrument, and he took it to Kaiser Wilhelm of Germany, who listened to it played for about 1 minute, and he said, "It really isn't a musical instrument, but I'd be very happy to use it for my car." And he stole it from Martin's hands and gave it to his chauffeur, and they drove off. So the upshot of the story is, years later, when these instruments were transferred around as signaling instruments in the German Navy, guys actually got together and made little Chalmet bands. And now there are several Chalmet bands around Europe, not here in this country, but over in Europe. So I think when you hear this, you'll realize that it has a kind of a unique sound, and maybe, you know, we won't be hearing this being played with the London Symphony Orchestra, but once again, it's an instrument that doesn't sound like anything else. So here's the Chalmet, and since I'm a little bit rusty on my fingerings, I'm going to put my little cheat sheet up here, and hopefully it'll last for the duration of the song. You get the idea. Okay? The Instrument Museum actually was born about 8 years ago when we chanced it as a fundraiser when I only had about 120 instruments. Almost all the instruments in my collection are wind instruments. I have a few ethnic instruments like a hammered dulcimer and a Balinese flute, but most of these instruments just show the history and evolution of the clarinet, the flute, the trumpet, and a vast number of other instruments. Ladies and gentlemen, in 1896, Oscar Adler of Markneukirchen, Germany, which is a major manufacturing center, major manufacturing center for musical instruments in Germany, invented the octavin. The octavin looks like the boot, which is the bottom part of a bassoon, which I think that's exactly where they got the idea. It is a woodwind instrument that originally came with a clarinet type of reed, like an E-flat clarinet reed, but I've been experimenting with it as a double reed instrument since it looks so much like a bassoon, and I'm actually getting much better results with it. The octavin was only made, it was so popular, it was made from 1896 all the way until 1896. Only 1 year. So there aren't a lot of them around. So this was in perfect shape, and this was also probably one of the octavins that they used when they went to music shows and showed off because it has gold-plated keys. So this is obviously the nicest one I've ever seen. I bought it from a starving musician, which is something I love to do. So good lesson for kids, save your shekels. So this is the octavin. earlier, my whole entire reason for having this collection is I want to know what every instrument in the world sounds like someday, whether they're still popular or not. And I want to find out, one of the things I research with my instruments is I want to find out why they failed as an instrument or succeeded as an instrument. This instrument failed miserably, but you know, if you spent a lot of time, if you spent 6 hours a day playing the octave, you'd have a really cool sounding instrument. I have one of the only soprano sousaphones, piccolo sousaphone, excuse me, made by Donald Getson, the famous music instrument maker. I bumped into his son at the NAMM show, and he said he thought his father made fewer than 10 of those. So I've yet to see another one. I would like to thank my incredibly tolerant wife for putting up with all this, because all this has to be stored in our house and around our property, and then, you know, it comes some closets that should be holding clothes or holding other things, and but she knows that I love it, and I don't have a boat and go up and down the river, and I don't hang out in bars, and I just love musical instruments. So, you know, that's it.